How did this man fight poverty and homelessness to chase the millionaire dream? I am absolutely sure that this story will teach you a powerful lesson about money and the hustle. The story begins with a young man named Chris Gardner in the city of San Francisco. He was 26 years old, waiting with his partner for the birth of their first child in a few months. He started his life in dark labs, just a lab assistant washing tubes and organizing medical equipment. But the problem was not the work, it was the low salary. Only $660 a month. This was a small amount that could not even buy food in an expensive city. Dear viewer, put yourself in his shoes. You are a man responsible for yourself, for your partner, and in a few months, your first son will be born, and you have no money to spend on them. In this critical situation, Chris made a crazy decision. He decided to quit his stable job. He put all his savings into strange medical devices, portable bone density scanners. At that time, these devices were a very strange and expensive idea for doctors. But the disaster that Chris did not know was that this project would fail, and he would only sell very few of them. The son was born, and Chris was not ready financially. He was walking the streets every day carrying this heavy device, trying to sell just one piece. But unfortunately, many months passed without selling anything. Without a job, his monthly income at some times was $0. As the months passed, his partner could not take this hell. She left him because he could not support her, and she left the baby boy with him. Here, the real hardships started to break Chris. At 27 years old, he was no longer able to pay his apartment rent, and he and his baby boy were kicked out. Because of extreme poverty and homelessness, Chris was forced to sleep with his son on the cold floor of public bathrooms in subway stations. Everyone was touched by the movie of Will Smith sleeping with his 7-year-old son in the subway bathroom. But the shocking and more terrifying truth is that the real Chris Gardner was sleeping on that bathroom floor while hugging a baby boy who was not even 1 year old. One day, while Chris was walking with his medical device after leaving his baby at the daycare, he stopped to rest. Suddenly, a luxury red Ferrari parked right next to him, and a man in a very sharp suit got out. Chris did not hesitate. He walked up to the owner and asked him 2 questions that changed the course of history. What do you do, and how do you do it? The man was nice and replied without arrogance, I am a stockbroker in the stock market. Curiosity sparked in Chris's head, and he started to search about this field. He discovered a big secret. This work does not require university degrees. It only requires intelligence, experience, and the power of persuasion. Chris went and met managers at a stockbroker company to join their training program. Chris was accepted, but the shock was that the work and training would take all his time without any salary for 6 full months. Worse than that, out of all the trainees, only 1 person would be chosen to get the job. Imagine 6 months without salary, having a homeless child you cannot support, and your chance of being accepted at the end is almost 0. Still, Chris accepted the challenge and started the training. He did the impossible. To know what he did in detail, I advise you to watch his movie. After 6 months of suffering and hunger, the critical moment came. The most terrifying moment for Chris and the rest of the trainees. Who will be accepted? Will they accept anyone at all? The company heads called Chris, looked at him, and said the word that stopped his heartbeat. Chris, you are officially accepted with us. Dear viewer, Chris did not just become a normal employee with them. He became one of the big market sharks and money giants, with a huge salary and commissions that made him say goodbye to poverty forever. And he did not stop there. He opened his own stockbroker company to become one of the big millionaires. His son grew up living the life of kings without knowing that his father, one day, was protecting him and sleeping with him in public subway bathrooms. In just 2 years, Chris changed his whole life. From a homeless man in the streets to a millionaire that the world points at. What can you do in 2 years? And why have you not started yet? Start now on the project that you always delay. Remember that it is your right to travel and eat in the best restaurants with your family without having to look at the check. I hope this story inspired you and helped you. For more details, this story was made into a movie starring Will Smith called The Pursuit of Happiness. I highly recommend you watch it. And I also recommend you subscribe to my channel to be ready for the next adrenaline story.